Yeah, people, wagwan. Welcome to another episode of Creative Always Be. This episode is called Creative Always Be Art Directing. Nick Anglin, Jamaican-based artist who is now living in New York, works as a creative art director for an agency. He's a multidisciplinary designer and creative who uses his style to add that pop to your brand or products. New Warhol is where he fuses images with electric colors and pop art inspired symbolism. Wagwan Nick, what you did, brother? No, hold
Oh,
on,
go
hold on,
on,
hold on, hold
Sean,
on,
go.
hold on. We can run the show wheel first, brother. Sorry about that. We run the show wheel.
Run it, run it, run it.
Yo, the man is sure real bad. Look on him work there. This I'm in in Pepsi work and it's a newer hall yeah where we showcase some of them newer hall design them bad. So what I go on angling? Where are these?
Um, Good, can't really complain too tough.
So how things are treated in the New York City? Cause you
With the
don't
COVID.
know. As I said, New York kind of stay how weird how
Um,
things sticky.
well, been in the house for about 3 months now. Lockdown, tight.
Well, like three
But
months, brother.
yeah, I just literally just went outside like last week.
Last week.
Yeah, last week, mask up, tight.
Man say well mask up and go out on the street. So where we want to talk about the first thing I'm always ask all of basically the persons that I'm invite on the show is basically how Nick got started and the second part of that question is how Nick got started in Jamaica and then end up as a creative director for an
In New
agency
York.
in the New York. Big question.
Um, all right, so let's say how it started. Honestly, I've always been like creating things. I feel like every creative person always creating something from the young. So for me, it was creating, like drawing every day and just randomly creating things. Then you get introduced to Photoshop, start playing around with Photoshop. You start figuring out other ways to use it. From Photoshop, I did some After Effects work, Premiere. Um, you start playing around with your camera, start learning how to shoot, and you move from shooting to video, and then from video you start like figuring out how to fuse everything together. You end up in After Effects. From there, obviously, you're just learning to put things together and making it work. You copying people, um, and yeah, for me, that's what kind of where it started. The whole journey just started from there, and then after that, it was formal training at Edna Manley.
Okay, so
Mm,
basically yeah, so you started to play around in the
yeah,
designing program them and once you start playing in the designing program them most times you end up different places. So you start do a little bit of design, you start do a little bit of editing, you start do
yeah,
all these things, and then you decided that you wanted to go to Edna Manley to basically study the the, 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 the the fundamentals. 'Cause that is what Edna Manley teach you, as far as I know.
yeah,
The
yeah. Funny,
fundamentals of designs.
but the funny thing is, I never really know about art school at that time. Like I didn't know that was a thing. Like I only knew about it in America. I was just like, oh yeah, you can go to art school in America, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what my options are at the moment. So I was just like, and then I heard about Edna, and I was like, oh shoot, if I apply, and then I applied for Edna, and then I got through with that, and then that's when I really was like, oh, it's a whole industry thing. Like, so for me, mostly it was about like, because I already kind of went to school knowing the programs already and knowing how to operate and kind of like because I've been copying other people, I kind of figured out how to the basic layouts and understand color and like type and layouts, and then from there it's just like, oh, I need a degree to kind of like tell people I know how to do this.
Okay.
Yeah,
So once you get the degree now, as I say, one of the questions I really want to flush out is how did you start in Jamaica doing a thing, and then end up over New York? You know what I mean? What kind of linkage you
So
had with New York City? Why
so
you end up in New York?
so in Jamaica, I mean, I was collaborating with a bunch of small agencies. I don't remember if you remember Be Social,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know
yeah,
all
yeah.
them, yeah, all them guys. I was collaborating with all them guys. End up working, doing some stuff with
Stop here, say
yeah.
them guys. We not like them guys. But me know what you talk about. Them people that give on to creative works. But
Yeah,
them
man,
guy
yeah,
there, we
man.
not like them guy there.
We're cool with them still. Like, you know, I know I'm not against them. I did always make sure like I get my best part of it still out of the deals. And I used to
Yeah,
work with
but
them. I used to work with them, and then I work with other people. End up getting closer ties with Bird Stripe and all of those other brands eventually. And then I just eventually people just realized that I was just doing my thing and understanding how the system work, how to be a creative in Jamaica just overall, and understanding people, because I feel like being a creative is more psychological, because you have to understand the people you're speaking to, what they'll be interested in, and what type of persona they are, because every design is a persona. So it's just a psychic game. You have to understand who you're dealing with and what they're into.
also another way I say is that when you are designing a campaign
Yeah.
and artwork, you come up with an avatar who basically a look
It,
on this work.
yeah, so it's a strategy in a sense where I mean, if you think about it, even the way like Instagram works, they have a strategy where they have to connect people with the content that they like. So how would I know the content that you like? I show you a list of stuff and I say, what you like? You like music? You like art? You like, you know what I mean? And you keep asking questions until you end up to a census of who this person is, or what their identity is, or what's it comprised of. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So for me, it
so
was more psychological in that sense.
so what me I hear from you is that that have a lot to do with even the agency where they were made have conversation earlier is that
Yeah,
the agency where
exactly.
they right now when they do a whole heap of strategy
So we do a
which
lot of
fall
strategy.
into design we fall into design so to speak.
Exactly.
And that is whereas you most times you have to come up with an avatar. Like when we listen to the business people, them and them talk about business, they must say, yo, all business should have an avatar. Who is your perfect client? Who is the person where
Exactly.
you basically would this are the person where buy your service. Hands down.
Exactly.
Because this is the
You have
person
you
where
have
look
to
for
know that.
this.
You
So it's the
have to
same
know
thing you think about when you design an artwork, when you design a campaign. So who I look on this? Is this for this demographic? Is this for this
exactly.
demographic? You see what you're saying?
So so for me now, after I was working at NOA at the time, National Outdoor Advertising at the time,
Yeah.
and I used to do a lot of like, I mean, obviously in Jamaica, as we were speaking before earlier before, people don't really respect creatives as much. Um, but I was very like on point with my creatives because I kind of already knew how to operate in the sense of the business world, because I've been dealing with business people. So while I was doing my 9 to 5, I always ensure I had a side project to work on. And it's not really because of the bread. It's just because at the end of the day, you need something else to distract your mind from the day-to-day tasks that you have to do, the menial tasks that you have to do on a day-to-day. So from NOA, uh, after I helped them, like at NOA, I was able to like actually dive deeper into like After Effects when I kind of tried to like help them implement digital signage, and you get to like create digital ads now at that point, moving from there to um just you have vehicle wraps, you have billboards and all of that, and then you learn how to like create a whole identity for a brand that already exists. And then, as I said again, it's a psychological game where you have to understand who is the demographic that you're targeting. Um, so from there, I left NOA literally to New York, and it's basically an opportunity that happened for me, luckily, and it kind of just changed my direction. I mean, I was going well career-wise in Jamaica at the time because I already had all the connections. Everybody knew who I was already. They knew my work ethic and how I worked. But, that had to cut short just because it was a greater opportunity for me somewhere else.
Speak to work ethics, because a lot of people don't know that your work ethics have a lot to do with even how you interact with client and how people view you, so to speak. As I say, it's what a lot of creatives don't understand. It's a people game. It's a
It's a people
managing
game.
people,
Yeah.
managing relationship, managing the whole thing. Some persons they don't necessarily want to do that. They don't necessarily want to interact with 500 people. Like personally,
Yeah,
me not necessarily really like that. Me rather have like somebody interact with them and me basically do the work. But come to a realization, say it's a people game and you have to basically manage the relationship them and also be professional on a certain level. So a man knows say, yo, if I'm link Shango I gotta deal with him on a professional level, and the professional level um deals with this. So you know, you're link Shango, you have to pay a certain amount of money because them man they deal with them in
yeah,
a certain
exactly.
way.
Yeah,
So talk
exactly.
about that a little bit.
So I mean, naturally, I personally like dealing with people, just because you get to meet a lot of people all at once. You get to see how other people think, and then from how people think, you're able to change your perspective and view on what you're able to do. Um, and also sometimes you end up teaching people a lot about your industry and your value, and doing that allows other people to really appreciate what you're doing for them or doing with them. You understand?
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah. So for me, it's more you're teaching and letting them appreciate, and then you're also appreciating what they're trying to accomplish as well. But you also being the professional, you have to guide people in the direction that they need to be guided. So you need to be like, oh, this color, I wouldn't use this color for that product because it doesn't give off the right message. Why you think it don't
Yes.
give off the right message? Why wouldn't it give off the right message?
That way
And
I
he
talk about
explained to
right now
them,
is philosophy
yeah.
of colors. So you
So
explain to
no,
them
you
and
have
say,
to
yo,
you have to let them understand that the
yes,
brain works like this. It's not just understanding layouts and type and all of that. You have to understand that
I'm gonna make a post
everything
recently about that, you know.
works. Yeah, you have to yeah, I
What
saw
did
it.
I
The
say
color
about the
theory
post?
post. The color theory post, yeah. About the
Yeah,
brands.
philosophy.
I saw it.
Not theory, but the philosophy of colors, which it tell you
Yeah.
what the colors they mean in terms of, green mean growth and prosperity, and
Mm-hmm.
yellow mean warmth and them thing. And when them show you
And
all the different
blue and
brands them,
yeah.
and them I say, oh, so this is the reason why that brand I use yellow. This is the reason why that brand I use red. If you notice, most
Yeah.
food places tend to use red or yellow.
Red, yeah,
You know what I
or
mean?
yellow.
When you
And
look on
people who want to be
the
safe use
McDonald's, you know
blue.
what I mean? Yes. And then if you
Yeah.
even the color in a hospital have a lot to do with even or you view the place. Like a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't know how serious colors are in terms of the environment and how it make you feel. If you walk into a room and the room is red, you're gonna find a feel a
Yeah.
little bit like tense,
Yeah.
why the
Flustered.
room is red? Like it just
Yeah.
what go on? Or even a black room.
Yeah.
So these are the things that as a designer it
You need to
helps to
understand.
understand, and then you would choose these colors based on what you want to something. Because even my company, Ubiquity Studios, when I was
Yeah.
choosing the colors, I choose the colors based on what I wanted to represent. The blue and the green. Even though it's lime green and it's a different shade of blue and stuff like that, it still
Mm-hmm.
fall under those colors, and it
Yeah.
represents
It
that
still
growth. It
still
represents
gives off
that,
the same energy. Yeah.
yes. And then even iShango visuals represent a certain colors, and now even the creative always be with the yellow and the red and the black, that represent a certain type of vibes, you know what I mean? So you have as a
Yeah.
creative have to understand how to use the colors, one to represent something and also help the brand move forward, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Make we talk look a bit about the painting the behind you, the artwork the behind it, body.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
before me just talk about the artwork, we talk about NUWARHOL, because that artwork is from one of the NUWARHOL things.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
explore NUWARHOL a little bit and kind of get into the
All
mindset
right.
we have when you try to create
So
this.
So actually, NUWARHOL would actually be the perfect gateway to me being in New York, because
Oh,
when I moved to New York, it became a passion project. It became something that took me roughly 4 years to develop. Um, the thing is, when I just moved to New York, obviously, it's you're a resident. You're not really a citizen, so they treat you like, yeah, you don't exist pretty much. Pretty much you don't exist. So it's more like, you can't really open a bank account properly. You can't get anything. You have to, it's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get, like, just to get like the simplest things done. Even when it comes to like renting a place, like, you have no person to back you up because nobody knows who you are. So it was very difficult in the upfront. Um, I've never actually looked for a job because in Jamaica, everybody that you could connect to get a
yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah.
So for me, I was just like, whoa, I have to go and do interviews and look for a job, and like how you go about this. So I remember the first thing I did was I went to Craigslist and I said, yo, let me look up some jobs. And bear in mind, I was probably what? I was 20. Yeah, I was probably 21 at the time. Yeah, 21 at the time. And I was just like, all right, let me go on Craigslist. I found a job, and I was working in like a, a small warehouse doing design for him. I was trying to I was designing like his website and branding his company and things. So I was like in his warehouse, sitting down in a little corner, just like designing everything, and obviously, because in Jamaica you have to learn everything and you understand that you have to be basically a jack of all trades. You kind of want to show that you can do everything. You understand? So I was showing him like, oh, you know what? We can make like a small animated video. And I took his voice and I recorded his voice, and then I made a small animated video, and I made a logo, and I made a whole website thing for him, a whole website layout, and got it coded and everything. And I was literally taking up no money every week, but I was just like, you are working, like I'm doing things. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
good to
yeah.
take home your
You're
little checks.
occupied.
You're occupied. You're not really thinking about nothing, and you're just like, yo, like I work, and then I'm coming home, and I can, I can pay my rent, and I can do everything I need to do to like survive. Because obviously, you're not trying to live a lavish life. You're not trying to, because you're just starting from the bottom. So for me, it was like my career just started booming in JA because everybody knew me already, and I was getting jobs, but now I had to start over again. And then I was just like, you know what, this is a way for me to. It was hard to get your mind right at the time, because what happened now is that this guy realized that, oh, you can really do a lot. Like, you really know how to make everything happen. Like, I told you I need one thing, and you made that you allowed that to develop into a whole brand that he couldn't even think to himself, like,
Yeah,
oh
but
my gosh, I can't
you,
believe I had this.
Anglin, as Jamaicans, when we go anywhere and we do
Anywhere,
anything
yeah.
to anybody, them astonished because we, as the system we exist in Jamaica, you have to
Mhm.
be resilient. Not Jamaicans are naturally like that. Anytime you put them
Naturally.
anywhere else in the world, because in Jamaica the system is so stifling that you have to create that. You have to create that. So, as I said, you have to be a jack of all trades
uh,
in
but let me
Jamaica.
tell you but let me tell you something though. So while I was working with this guy, I was thinking that because I could show him I could do all these things, that obviously he would want to, one, pay me more, and two, keep me on. So this guy got I don't know, some intern was looking for a job, got a job with him to take photos, right? And I was supposed to edit the photos. But then this intern really couldn't take photos. So I was just like, yo, this brother is a joke. So what I did was I said, yo, you know what? We need to, like, let me see how you take your photos. And he showed me, and I was just like, all right, you know what? You're overexposed here. This needs to fix your aperture, use this lens instead of that one. And he was just like, how you know all of this? And I'm just like,
I
I
just
don't want to
know.
sound bad, but yeah, I was just like, I can do everything. Like, I can literally do everything. Like, I'm just like, because to me, I was just like, yo, I don't need you to do this. I can do this myself. and I would be done like quick time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Easier
was
if
just
we
like,
just do it.
yeah, it's easy if I just do the whole thing. And then and then what happened is he hired another guy, and then he came to me one day. I was just like, yo, I'm paying these guys like less than I pay you, and they're okay. Like I'm not like amazing like you, but they're okay. So the guy fired me, dog.
Yo,
And I was just
nah.
like, yeah. So now I'm on the hunt for a job again. Um, and
That's
I have to
crazy,
search
bro.
for a job again. Yo, yo, I mean, yo, trust me, this is no money. This was like $500 a week,
Yeah.
like no money.
Ridiculous.
And the man looked at me and the man said, yo, he looked at me and he said, yo, honestly, you're going to thank me for this in like a year or two.
Yeah, because you need to get your first
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he said to me you gonna thank me for this in a year or two, because he's just like, yo, honestly, I am
Don't
taking
waste your
advantage
time
of
with
you.
yourself.
No, he said,
Yeah.
I am taking advantage of you, and it's just because I know that you just got here, like, like I know, like, that's the reason why you're in the situation. It's not that
Yes.
you don't,
Yeah.
you know, and you just like, you're such a loyal person that I know you just end up staying here and being okay. And I was just like, wow, like, and I said to him, you know what, I appreciate the honesty still, like I can't even fight that.
Yeah.
And then um after that, now I'm on the hunt for a job. Um and I said, you know what, I need to figure out how I'm gonna get my stuff out there. So I redid my website. Um I started like, beautifying my projects. I did a ton of projects in JA at the time. So I was just like, I have a decent portfolio. And a lot of people my age didn't have a portfolio like that, because people my age was in school. So I was just like, oh, all right, cool. Let me see how I can navigate this. So I went to a hiring agency, and they pretty much said, okay, this is what we need to do. They set you up, and they're kind of like in New York, for example, hiring agencies allow you to get the best jobs, but they also take a portion of the money that you make. So every month they take a portion, but it doesn't affect how much you're supposed to be getting. So if I'm supposed to be making like $20 an hour, you're going to say, because they do it by the hour here, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
if I make $20 per hour, they're going to say, okay, but we're charging like, you know 15 over there or 25 over there or some shit like that. They have like a weird system.
No, no. Explain it again. So
So
you are making $20 an hour, and then they
yeah.
take $5 out of
So,
it or $1. No.
no, so they don't trouble my money. My money is not a part of it. So
Okay.
I'm guaranteed to get my $20, but in the back end they're probably getting like another 20,
Oh, so in other words, $35 I make,
40.
but you will get $20 and them will get
Yeah,
15. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So in that sense, it's more like you realize that there's a you're still a third party in that situation. So I did the agency, um and I was there for what, 6 months. Yeah, I was there for 6 months, but it all works on contract. So you get a contract with whoever hires you, whoever they send it to you, your interviews, and you show them your portfolio. It's just like applying for like a regular job. So I went to a real estate company, and they're just like, oh yeah, we need like creatives for this and that. So they were doing like, so this real estate company basically owns half of New York. And what they did was, they did a bunch of 3D stack designs, like outlines of buildings that they rent, and then they show like where is available, what's not available, who is renting, and then they made like these booklets that allowed you to take that information and dissect it, and then it allows them to make lease for the next 10 years. So when I went,
Question. Is that
yeah,
is
shoot.
that the sophisticated way of gentrification, where them point out which area and which area and which area?
Well, it wasn't like it was. Actually, yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly
It
what it was.
sounded like that to me.
Just because, all right, for example, they like Macy's would pay them rent. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So they own the building,
Okay,
and
so
then
them
because
own
they
all the building them in New York and have the
so they
companies them are pay them rent.
exactly, and they
Nice,
pay them
nice.
rent. So that's how they made their money. So they were able. So they had a lot of resources. They had a lot of money to spend. So they could keep people, like, you know. So they had like they hired me as a designer, because obviously nobody's going to hire me as an art director, even though I had that kind of quality from before.
Yeah.
They hire you as a designer, but they're just like, oh yeah, you know, you're young. Because and I realized too, age is a big factor here too. Because when that's how I mentioned to you, it's how you carry yourself as well.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
so yeah, so it's a psychological game, as I was saying. It's how you carry yourself and present yourself to people. So if you present yourself mature, you can navigate it where you can, you know, get more
So,
money if you
in other
need
words,
to.
what I hear from you is that no matter what age, no matter if you're 17 or you're 15, if
Mm-hmm.
your business ethics or you deal with business or you speak about business, if you talk like
Yeah.
Chris Doe,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, if you
Exactly.
talk like Chris
But
Doe,
but
right
but
away the
all
man them a look for you
but
like, okay,
but
alright.
also you have to know how to do the work.
Yeah, no, 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 no. It's
Yeah.
not about
So
doing the
so
work.
so you have to speak, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk pretty much.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
that is important.
Yeah. So move from there, work there. It was supposed to be a 3-month contract, and I was doing the lamest thing ever, bro. I was working on decks. That's like on presentations. So I was working on presentations almost every day, but the money did good. Like I was literally making like 4 times what I was making with that man before.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
that's
So I was
even
just like,
better.
yo,
You know,
yeah,
yes.
right. So I was just
This
like,
is not my
yo, man, it's
passion,
good.
but I'm
You
good
get
in
me?
terms of money.
Exactly. So I never have to worry about money for 3 months. Like I was just like, yo, constantly. I was going in the city every day. I was, you know, and you start enjoying life more. You say, oh yeah, I can afford to buy a coffee today. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you start enjoy it a little bit more, and then you start meeting more people because of, you know, your cycle. You're seeing people all the time. You're constantly engaging with people and checking out your surroundings. So you become more comfortable and confident as well.
Mm.
So, and for me, that was a big thing, to confidence, because I didn't feel confident coming in, because I was just like, I don't sound like you. And when you hear American people present ideas, it sounds so much more refined than when we present ideas sometimes, you know. But that's us looking like, oh wow, that's and sometimes it's not even a good idea, to be honest. It's
Yeah,
just
but
it just sounds
it's just a
nice.
presentation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just like, wow, that's so nice, but it's really nothing special. So I mean, that company, honestly, just being around that person at the time allowed me to feel free to express and speak and talk about what I was doing at the time, even if it wasn't much. You know, like they allowed me to like, oh, what do you think we should do for this one right here, or and they were like, so they always like to look at me and like wait till I speak, and I'm just like, oh my god. So like I end up
Yeah,
like, you know, gaining the confidence to speak
yeah,
and
yeah,
present
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
talk, and yeah, and then after that, the person ended up liking me so much that they end up extending it to another 3 months. And I was just
Okay,
like,
nice,
wow.
nice.
So yeah, right. So almost for a whole year now, I don't have to worry about money. I just start saving and start doing this, and you know. So I was by then I was able
Question.
to.
By then, you have your things sort out, or you still just
So by then, New Warhol didn't even exist yet.
no? When we say sort out, we mean like remember say you just reaching America, you know really have all the things them,
So
your
by
paperwork
then,
still a
so
sort out.
so so that one job literally was like giving me a green light. I was able to get a bank account. I was able to get a credit card. I was able to get credit.
Okay,
Like,
nice, nice,
like you know,
nice.
like it's, and it was so. That's how I say it's confidence, and you realize sometimes people let um financial wealth like determine their confidence, but you have to prepare yourself for that kind of transition in life. So within that time now, I was still like drawing on the side, doing like doing little jobs from Jamaica still, just to just to make extra money. And then I had to obviously leave that job after the 3 months, move from there um to agency now. I got a connection with somebody who happened to be Jamaican, and they knew somebody that I knew, which was I think it was Peter Lloyd from Digicel at the time. Yeah, so back at Edna a couple of years ago, I was selected to work with Digicel for some campaign, the e-bill campaign that they had at the time. So it was myself, Leo Rule, and some other creatives. But Leo and I were like mainly the people who were in charge at the time. And we got selected to do that. And then after the whole campaign, they were just like, "Oh yeah, it's an internship." And I was like, "Is this a paid internship?" And they're just like, "No." So I was like, "All right, like this don't really benefit anybody." Right? Yeah. Because at the time too, I was already working at NOA every couple months getting a check. So I was already like, at that time, I didn't even leave college yet, and I was able to make like a proper salary at that time where I could have paid for school and get everything out of the way. So now we're in New York and everything, and I get the connection, presenting my portfolio. Because remember, I redid my website, presenting my portfolio. Everything was sorted out, so I was ready for the field. So I just had to showcase what I had, let them understand everything. I had to talk through my concepts of development, just like why I came up with ideas, why I approached stuff that way. They were looking at the visuals, appreciating what I was doing, realizing that I understood the whole gamut of creativity and how to put everything together. So that at the time, so they hired me like on the spot, right?
Like,
so I went to work. Yeah, literally. So that day, by the end of the week, I had a salary, like full salary, healthcare, everything by the end of the week.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? And I was out of work. For probably less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, less than 2 weeks. And it was me just like driving, just like finding what I need to do to get to where I need to get to. Because at the end of the day, it was like, you're still kind of living like dollar to dollar, kind of trying to make sure that don't run out before you get to the next one. Yeah. So what I end up doing now is working with them, and they were going through a transition as well, where they were trying to change the culture of the company itself.
Okay.
So I end up working with like a host, a team. So I was doing stuff with they hired me as a graphic designer, but I was also doing production design as well. But I already had like ideas in production, but production as in like print and stuff like that. So I would do like trafficking. So the guy who allowed me to get the job, he was in charge of me. And he allowed me to, work under him and kind of like learn the whole process of everything, the proper way to do everything. Like how to present yourself and why we're doing this and why we invoice in-house instead of, So I was learning the business just by, word of mouth kind of thing. And then people realized like, oh, this guy actually know way more than just this. Like, why we have him over here just doing this, right? And I had to get the courage to like speak up too, and just like I mean, obviously when you're new, you don't want to come off as cocky or whatever. Yeah, so you're trying to like you're trying to just reserve and just hold up. So I end up like talking to them through it, and I end up working on our project. They threw me on our project, and I was designing logos and branding stuff and everything, and they were just like, "Yo, this guy work fast and work good." And right.
Because in
So
Jamaica, you have to work fast.
yeah, so they used to always tease me and be like, "Yo, it must be the yam you're eating or something or the Jamaican this or whatever. So they used to always make jokes. So because they were just like, yo, we don't understand how you can work so fast and like do all of that. So eventually, I moved. I mean, I spent what two, I want to say 2 years being a graphic designer, still like dabbling in production and still managing stuff like that. And then I dive into a little bit of video stuff at the agency. So and then after a while I did so many projects that like I became a part of, like integral in so many projects that I was just like, yo, you guys know that I'm doing so much work, right? Like everybody now is coming to me to
Yeah.
help finesse things and to work things out. And I was just like, yo, this don't make sense. Like this guy is supposed to be doing what I'm doing. Like why am I not getting paid like you get paid?
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is no, it became more than just the money. It was more like, I value myself and I want to grow now. Like the money was cool and thing, but now I need to like do something else. Like I can't be underneath somebody all the time.
Yeah.
So after that, I went to them and I said, you know what? I think I need to be upgraded to art director. Right?
Because
So
you
I
prove
spoke.
yourself now.
Yeah, I
Prove
was
yourself,
just like,
upgrade
I
into
spent
art
two
director.
years. I spent 2 years working on projects. I've done this. I've even helped with video, and this and this. I think I've more than proven myself of being an art director. So obviously, when you ask for a promotion, everybody's always ifing and butting. And funnily enough, they didn't if and but. They're just
Yeah,
like,
but
oh,
they
all right,
couldn't.
yeah.
You already prove yourself. You know what I
They're
mean?
just
Like
like, all right,
they made
cool.
a see it as a loss to lose you. Which is where you always want to,
Yeah,
this is one of the things we learn about business. You
exactly,
always want to basically put the business in a corner when you are trying to ask for
exactly. They
more
always need
money.
to depend on you.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you start take on some things where you probably never even need to take on. So by the time
yo,
you want to ask for the promotion, them like, okay, no, we can't lose the
yeah.
person here because if we
We
lose him,
can't lose
we have
him.
to train
Yeah,
somebody to do this.
exactly. So the plan was that now, okay, for me to be an art director, you have to get somebody obviously to work under me, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, we tried finding people, and they're trying to compare everybody that they're hiring to me,
Yes.
and
Impossible.
I'm just
Unless you
yeah, and
hire
I'm
next
just like
Jamaican.
yeah, and I'm just like yo, honestly, you can't hire anybody here. There's nobody I think at my age that you can hire that is going to perform like I perform because they don't have
Especially
the
an
same
American.
experience. Yeah, I'm just
Especially
like they don't
American
have the same
because
experience.
yeah.
So when we're doing concepts, like my concepts almost could pass as finished work, right? So they were looking at it like, okay, let's give him a little test, and they realized that this guy I draw up on paper or more, and you're just like, yo, I need to work to finish 20 minutes ago. Like you're done.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. You're not working. So I end up just I said, you know what? I still need the position. I still do that, still push through, end up finding a couple of people. So then know what happened is that I end up working alongside associate directors. So I just end up like working with a larger team.
Okay.
And then everybody now delves into bits and pieces. So for example, I would probably develop like some people like good at brand development or good at color theory or whatever. So you just end up like putting things together. And then from there, then you just start moving up and start, learning. Um, and I just learned from I just eventually just learned from the people who are better than me. There's one guy in the office who was better than me, and I just learned from him because I was just like, yo, I won't work like you. Because he was like me,
When you're saying better than you, like what you
but
considered him
so
better
he
than you at?
had better than me in the sense of so he's been in the business way longer than I have, right? So he understands not only the creative, he's a full creative, but he also understands the strategy behind why he's doing what he's doing.
Okay, so the
So
strategist
so
is a strategist
so
creative basically.
so yeah, it's like a fusion where you have to understand what you're doing because when you present it to people, you need them to understand cohesively
Mm.
especially when it comes to brand identity, what you're trying to accomplish, what you want
Okay.
people to feel, and what you're trying to give off energy wise.
And we
So
can
he
explain this.
and he can explain it.
Yes.
So for me, I was just like, I
Very
need to be like that.
important.
I need to be
Yeah.
like that. And then over time, I just started learning. And then there was a time in between where I was being a graphic designer at a company where NUWARHOL was born pretty much. Because what I started to do was obviously being a graphic designer and feeling that you don't have a worth after a while and you're afraid to ask for the raise, you start doing other things to figure out what you need to do. So I started painting. And then when I started painting, and bear in mind, even though I went to Edna, I wasn't a painter. I never messed with paint. I never need to. I was just like, nah, that's not for me. Like I used to say Ikem, Ikem Smith. I used to say
Yeah, I
Ikem
can
Smith
Smith.
painting all
What
the
did you
time.
do at Edna,
And
man? What did
Jet.
you study?
I studied visual arts and thing there.
Is it the
But it was
same thing
really
that
just
Yannick study?
it was the same thing that Yannick studied, yeah. It's the
Okay,
same
okay,
exact thing,
okay.
same exact degree. So from there, I just say, you know what? It's not like I can't paint. I know how to paint. Like I always in the
When
studio
you
with Jet,
understand
and
colors,
yeah,
once you
I
understand colors,
understand
you know how to
colors.
paint. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started like I just pick up a brush one day. Um, and it was obviously on some depressive vibes, like
Video
tired of
not
them
working.
work,
Yeah.
like Jano Star, like and then eventually you just start to free up. You start expressing yourself. And I used to always do illustrations. Back in Jamaica, they have a thing called Struck by Goal. I did it for my final year show.
Yeah. Yo, that was
Yeah,
like,
remember that,
remember that?
right?
That was
Yeah,
sick,
man,
bro.
yeah, man.
That
So, but
was
but but
sick.
but you see, for me, I always felt like people did not understand my people understand the work. Like people my age understood what I was doing,
Mm.
but anybody else above that was just like, yo, what is? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I just like, yo, this is youth culture. This is how it is transforming. It's developing, and they just couldn't get it. They couldn't
Yeah,
understand it.
but Anglin, me and you know that the people them not necessarily the people them who outside the scope, them not gonna get it. Like
Yeah,
when you talk about early adapters and the person them were in the dip and stuff like that. The person them were in the dip,
yeah.
them not gonna really get it until everybody get it. At the early adapters,
True,
them you want
true.
to see your work and like it and say, yo, so that flash it, me like this, and them are the person where you want to take on. So the elderly people them, they expect them to
They
get it.
don't
They
get
even
it.
think like that.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I always felt like like I knew what I was doing, but some people, I always felt like an outcast in that realm. Like everybody else understood what I was doing except for the people who were supposed to grade my work. So because of that, I didn't get a room when I was presenting. You realize where my presentation was, right? It was like in the hallway.
Yeah.
I had to develop that because nobody would give me a room.
Wow. Wow.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to present in the hallway. No, when I go to Edna shows, they're using the hallway as a means of presenting other people things.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I set a
because
trend. I set a trend
yeah.
that people even realize. Um.
Let's get
So
back to the
even
strategist now. Like where you learn
yeah.
from him and everything.
So learning strategy from him now. I mean, because obviously he's not a strategist. He's a creative. So learning about what I'm creating, understanding what typefaces connect to personas
Sans serif,
for the
serif,
strategy. Yeah,
all of
right.
these things.
Understanding, but also learning to talk your way through the idea that you've developed.
Okay.
Because
Which
sometimes,
is
I mean, sometimes even us as Jamaican creators, we create things and we know how it looks supposed to look and feel,
yeah.
and we can do it with ease, but we don't speak through it, right?
In other
We
words,
can't
we
like we
can't
can't really
explain it. We can't
yeah,
explain the
but we're
process, what it's supposed to mean,
exactly.
how it made the person feel, all of this
Exactly.
information.
We just know it feels right. Like we just know it's
Yes.
right because that's it. Like this is what I see happening in the world, so it must be right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really a copy and paste technique that we've developed where we just know what works and we just copy and paste the right things that
Yeah,
happen to,
yeah, yeah.
help build us. So now it's just learning how to explain what you're doing on a whole.
So how did you
So
use that in Newarhol?
So in NUWARHOL now, what I did now was adapt that same strategy of developing the brand identity in the sense of I said, what do I want to represent? So at the point I was contemplating, do I need to leave my job or the art? If I put my energy, like, is it destroying me by splitting my energy into putting 9 to 5 and and then doing my passion on the side? Is it killing it? Is it killing the passion, or am I supposed to be doing the 9 to 5? So it became the process of love and loss, right? And how else can you how can you show lust and how can you show love, right? A dollar sign obviously represents greed or wealth or something like that, right? So for me, that was lust. That was representing lust. The heart
Yeah. The nine to
represent,
five, the money,
represent.
and the love, the
Yeah,
heart. Yeah.
exactly. So that's what New World actually means is the fight between love and lust.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so it was just me developing my identity upon that. And also, like, being in Jamaica, it's kind of hard for you to kind of fully be a creative
Yeah.
in the
Yeah. For
sense
the
of you
balance.
can't you kind of have to look corporate enough where people won't hire you, and kind of like
Yeah.
in between. So I've never had the
Like what you
chance
are
to
doing right now,
really.
you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm on a
Yeah,
black shirt, but you have the black
yeah,
hair. You know what I mean? I'm on same,
exactly,
like, oh, so it's a creative,
exactly.
but business like.
But business, right? You
Yes.
understand. So for me, it was just like I'm somewhere where I can wear a t-shirt to work. Like, why am I trying to
Be
hold back
something else.
myself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was just like, all right, cool. So I developed the logo, and obviously the style was developed before, but I was trying to develop the style from Struck by Gold, like trying to push that idea some more. But the
Mm-hmm.
more I was trying to push it, I was just like, you know what, like, I'm not in that environment anymore, so I'm not inspired by the same things anymore, because I'm
Yeah.
old at this point, and everything is like changing for me as well. So what I started to do was, what, I want to paint. So I just constantly started painting, even if it was bad. Like, I just get up every day and I just start paint something. Anything I could paint, I just paint it. And then I moved from that to, I found an app on my phone, and then I found an app on my iPad, and I bought an iPad and I did this, and I said, all right, cool, I'm gonna start like drawing on the iPad. I got one on my phone so I could carry it on the train when I'm going to work. And then I started off it was more like a mental practice of consistency, because I realized consistency was the thing that was missing in my life personally. And I just decided, consistency is the approach I need to start taking. If I'm consistent with what I'm doing, um, then I can never ever, be swayed by what I'm trying to do, because I
Yeah.
already know my direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at this time, I started listening to Protege, Whole Heap and thing. And I remember the 7-year itch and the 8-year affair. And that
Mm.
always stick with me. Like, the concept always stuck with me. Like, like, yeah. So you start like count it and you say, yeah, man, I've been on my 7-year itch. I was the 8-year
In other
affair where you're
words,
trying to like
what a 7 year itch means to you is that you go through a process. Because 7 year itch, I'm just sure you say,
process.
is a process. Everything is a process. It don't just
Yes.
happen overnight. You have to go through a certain process and learn and learn and learn until you reach that level where you confident enough to boost yourself and say, yo, I'm ready.
Yeah, because it's confidence, That's really the whole premise, It's confidence. Because without confidence, it's hard for you to feel like you can express yourself, which is why I always create an identity,
Yeah.
because Nick
As
Anglin is
creatives, we do
very
that still.
different.
We
Yeah,
always create different identity. But yes, when you
yeah,
come forward to the camera a while ago, when we look at the
yeah.
picture, what we actually see is the crown above your head.
Oh,
Dope.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You see me and crown yourself, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is so dope. But obviously, as creative, you always either basically recreate your identity, or you always
Yeah,
fit yourself in a some form of identity. That is how a
always,
creative develop themselves overall, so to speak.
always. And then when you think about it, that's where you're learning branding from. You learn to brand yourself constantly.
Yes,
Constantly, as you
rebranding,
grow, you're trying
rebranding
to brand
always.
always. So for me, moving from that premise now, I've learned to use my colors and fuse my colors. And I don't know if you realize that I always use primary colors.
I
Like,
realize.
yeah, like, and I've been doing that since Jamaica.
Cool.
It's that's the one, yeah, that's the one consistent thing I've been doing. But I used to use primary colors because I used to have a brand called Live on Certain Trends, like while I was in Edna.
Oh.
And
Remember, you never do some shirts on our time. That was
yeah,
structured,
that's what
right?
it was. Yeah, that's what no, that was Live on Certain Trends. That's what I was
Oh.
doing before. That was lost. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing that before. So I've always been like doing bits and
But
pieces
it
of
seemed
the
it
same
seemed
thing.
like all of the Edna man them did have some type of shirt thing I do, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
anytime I think about
yeah.
next Edna man, I think about Richard a while ago. Richard
Always.
something him name.
Yeah.
Him did have
Burge,
same
yeah,
shirt.
Burge. Yeah,
Bag
yeah.
of stuff, man.
Yeah. So me and Steez used to have that brand. Me, Steez,
Mm.
and a girl named Lissa. We used to like they used to help me with the brand and things. So it was a whole team effort. So they used to inspire me with the music. That's when I was doing illustration and things. So all of us just come together and come up with ideas and develop concepts. And they were all designers too. So it was just super easy just to work with a whole creative team.
Mm.
Um, and then after that, now New Warhol just started developing on its own because I started taking my elements that I would normally draw and turning them into, you know, more abstract things.
Okay.
Start turning
Okay.
them, yeah, I start breaking down. I start like reviewing all my work because I keep sketchbooks with all my little doodles and things. Like I don't
Okay.
have like full-fledged drawings in my sketchbook. I have like doodles, like
So you're
concepts
talking
and
about like
ideas.
bone, you're talking about look eye up at the top, they say you're talking about the crown,
Yeah.
you're talking
So
about all
all
these
those
little doodles so to
elements,
be.
yeah. So I mean, if you think about like hieroglyphics, that's what because I don't know why, but ever since I'm in Jamaica, I used to tell people, I used to be like, yo, I feel like my family is some Egyptian people, and them
Okay.
raw, yeah, man.
It's, as I
Like
said
I
a while
always
ago,
felt that.
as I said, I start look on the painting behind it and I say, oh shoot, it look like hieroglyphs
Mm,
true enough.
yeah. So I've always felt that way about myself,
Mm.
but I've never been able to project it in any other way other than using a subsidiary brand to represent that.
Yeah.
So New Warhol just developed from then, and I start adding elements in it. I start looking at what actual artists doing, like actual painters are doing, and I said, "Yo, wow, I like that. You're deconstructing, and like you develop something from like fully, and then you just destroy it. You
Mm.
tear it, or you just decide whatever you want to do." And I just started like playing around, and the more I started playing around, I said, "You know what? I should post what I'm doing. I should just post it." And I started posting it. People start reacting to it. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And
Yeah. Remember when it just started
yeah,
post and I see it, I'm like, yo, this is so
yeah.
different, this is so cool. So
But at that time, I was really like posting it like in between my page and New Oral, because at the time I didn't think about separating them, and then I finally separated it and it became its own thing. I started growing, and then I always wanted to be a fashion designer since I was young. But
yeah.
I mean, in Jamaica, when you say you want to be a fashion designer, yeah, man, you want to be a fashion designer.
Fashion designer. But I don't understand the fashion
Yeah,
designer is wide in terms of what you can
you
do.
get me? So in that regards, I was just like, like let me just stray away from that. So that's how I end up even dealing with design, like graphic design on a whole.
Mm.
And then from then now, everything starts kind of, you kind of spend time finessing your style and figuring out your science, like because basically you've developed a formula that people recognize, and you look at what people recognize in your work. Sometimes I'd even ask people questions. I'd be like, yo, what do you think about this, and how you feel about that, or what did it say to you? Or I remember I would tell you the psychology game. You have to understand how people think as well,
Yes.
even when you're creating art, because even though you're telling your side of a story, you don't want it to be not even misinterpreted, because you don't care if people misinterpret it because it's art. It's
Yeah.
more about you want them to understand what you were trying to say
Yeah.
if
In other
you
words,
decided to explain
you're
it.
trying to create a reaction, but you also want to create a connection.
Exactly. So
Crazy.
the closest way for me to get to fashion was to obviously draw something in my style, because I have a mentor, Jason Panton, and Jason used to call me the refix king.
Conversation where we are having the information. This one lasts a little bit longer. even the show and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because this information where Anglin give is very important for even a young creative who are come up and I try to learn about, you know what I mean, the business side of creative and how you carry
Yeah.
yourself and your confidence and how that will help you to be a better creative and how you can move forward, so to speak. So let's continue the conversation, Anglin.
I mean, I just want to clarify. It's not about being cocky. It's just being confident in what you're doing.
Yeah, man. But you have to understand
Yeah.
the people them who mix up cockiness with confidence, I feel them problem that's not yours. So if you
True.
confident
True.
and the
True.
next man
True.
see it as cocky, I feel issue that. You know sir
True. True.
confidence, you know what your work value, you know how you carry yourself, that is confidence for you. And next man see it as cockiness, I feel problem. Stop
Being
worrying about
problem.
others, I feel
True.
problem and focus on your thing. So we'll continue the conversation.
All right. So where were we again? We were.
You talk about NUWARHOL and how you develop it and then you switch it up on the
Yeah.
page and you start put it on its own page and the
So
button.
now. So now I decided that, you know what, I'm going to turn New Warhol into a business, because at this point people were asking me to, do like little portraits of them and stuff like that. So I started doing portraits. I started off doing portraits from my phone, believe it or not. Every day I would go to work, I would make it a due diligence to finish at least one portrait um, per day. So at the time, the portraits were cheap at the time. Portraits was running for like $50. And I was just like, wow, like, I can do a little thing. And they were like small, very small, and I was selling little pieces. And after that, I started to just, grow. And as I started growing, I started just doing more things that I like, which was focus mainly around fashion and things that I like. So I was explaining to somebody recently that I use my art as a means of manifesting the things that I want, either in life or I want other people to feel as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so if I wanted, usually when I wanted to meet somebody, I would say, you know what, I'm gonna draw them and meet that person.
Yeah.
It was almost like a mood board in a
Mm.
sense. Would you call it a mood board? No, not a mood board.
No, no. Is it what them called again? Then I'm Ed now.
Can't remember.
Then I'm
Um,
Ed. Them always talk about it in the business forums.
yeah,
The wall the way you
not a
create it, you
mood.
put like a car on it, and you put like your house on it, and
Yeah.
yeah, we can't remember the
Well,
name.
it was for me, it was just a means of manifesting the things that I wanted to happen to me to accomplish.
Mm.
So when New World started picking up, I was listening to a lot of music and running through Instagram, because Instagram was crazy back then. So I was just running through Instagram, and music was always the way. I always had time to listen to music because you're traveling a lot in New York, so you always have time to listen to music. So I always take the time to listen to new music, listen to new artists. And I heard an artist called Justin Sky, and like I heard like a couple of songs, and I was like, yo, like I like her thing, and like she was very like down to earth kind of person. Like when you look on her Instagram, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to this girl, and all I did was I just draw her, I just did a drawing and thing in my style,
Yeah.
tag her and send it to her. And when I sent it to her, all of a sudden I started getting my page just started like getting a whole heap of followers and likes and things. I was like, yo, what going on?
Yeah, I wonder.
And
Wow.
then yeah, I was like, just to realize she messaged me. She reposted and she messaged me. She sent her publicist to message me saying, hey, I really love the artwork. Oh my God, I would love if you could, give me a copy of this and blah, 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 blah. And I end up at Atlantic Records.
Wow.
I was at work, I was at work, and I said, yo, you know what, I get everything printed and ready in the box. And I said, yo, I have to go down there. So I said, yo, I just gonna take a quick jump, run in the city real quick, drop this off, meet who I need to meet, and just leave, right? So I did that. End up at Atlantic Records, chatting up with the PR manager for this person, and I was like, yo, this is crazy, right? And she's Jamaican too.
Okay.
Like she has a Jamaican background too. So it was just crazy to me, like, just how she could feel what I was trying to do, like manifest, And then from then now, I start realizing that, this isn't a far-fetched idea. Like manifesting what you want through your art.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so I started, drawing more and reaching out to more people and constantly just saying, what, it's the confidence. You need the confidence. And I just kept pushing that out. And also it was a means for me to also be very consistent. Remember
Yeah,
telling you
yeah,
about
yeah.
consistency. So what I also did to be consistent was I took 1 year. I mean, even though I went to art school, I told you I was never really the creative looking person. I was just creative on the inside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because I know, say, yo, in Jamaica, I have to make bread. So I was just like, I have to look corporate. Everywhere I go to work is a corporate place. So I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
look presentable. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to grow my hair for a whole year. And I just have to live with every discomforting part of it. Like, if I don't like it today, I have to be like, and just like go to work anyway, or go out anyway or whatever. So that was a means for me, to deal with trouble or to face uncertainty or being uncomfortable in that point. So it was also because the thing for me is I will have a plan for like a year and then I stop, or a couple months and I say, you're not picking up, people don't get it, and I just stop. So I
Yeah, yeah,
decided, you know
yeah.
what, I need to not stop. I need to just continue. That's how I'm going to develop my 7 year itch to get to the 8 year affair.
Yes, yes.
Right? You see what I'm saying? So I was just like, this is how I'm gonna have to develop that. So I said, okay, let's develop this. So I said, okay, I'm going to vow to myself to not cut my hair. I'm gonna grow my hair for a whole year and see how that feel, what it make me feel like, what I have to deal with. And I go on the train and my hair growing out and it start curling and it start wire up and it start do all kind of thing, right? I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, cool. I said, General Star, man. I said, yo, here one oil to the dog, here one this to them. I said, General. So I start learning to care myself now, start take care of the hair, start present myself looking nice, so start taking more pride in what I'm doing for myself personally. And eventually I end up having my hair done to my chin, almost close to the end of the
So,
year.
when I hear from you, Anglin, is this process where you go through for a year of growing a year is kind of
Yeah,
like a introspection type of vibes. So you use this
exactly.
ear thing, even though ear thing and it's more an outer type of thing
Yeah,
for
it's a
people to
outer,
see
it's
you.
a but
You are the more an introspection and try to get to understand yourself.
exactly. It was more
Self,
about
yeah,
understanding
yeah.
self. Yeah. So it became now more of so New Warhol became more of a self journey into understanding one, not only my creative mind, but what I am able to accomplish with my creative mind with consistency.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so what I started to do now was like, like I started like writing my own fonts. So I'd write little phrases too in my own font. I made my own font and I just kind of like, it looked like scratch too, but it almost looked like it wanted to be hieroglyphics or something like that too. But
Yeah.
you could make like people on a day to day could make it out if they wanted to read it.
Mm.
So I started doing that and just start saying like messages, like anything that came to mind, I would just write it, how I was feeling or whatever. And then one of the biggest one I did was consistency is a bitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I was just like, consistency is a bitch, like this shit's hard. And you don't
Yeah.
realize how hard it is until you have to stick with a project. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like the project gonna be done. It's a consistent project that will constantly evolve. And the evolution of that project is dependent on you and your growth and what you want to do for yourself.
Mm.
Um, so at that point now it was just how can I take that energy and channel it into what I want to happen for me. And then over time, I just got confident about what I was doing. I started, not caring so much about what was happening here, but what was happening here inside my mind, Start focusing on
But
figuring
that
out
is
how
the
to
reason
get
why I
them.
say even though the ear thing and you do the outer thing and right now
Yeah,
you went on more an introspection journey, even though you
introspection.
do this outer physical journey and oftentimes we see a lot of creatives and a lot of artists and stuff like that, and you realize that because them so much of an introspective mind, them not necessarily care too much about how them ear look or what the clothes them have on. You see
Exactly.
artists, them bad, it's a bad artist, and when you look at them clothes look almost
Yeah.
raggedy. It's almost like them call a
Yeah.
time they again. Them call a time when the people them they back then them a wear whole heap of color clothes. Them call a time name again.
Um.
I can't remember the time when the white
Oh,
people
the
did that. And
60s.
yeah,
No,
the
60s or
60s. Them,
70s,
I
70s,
can't remember.
70s,
And a lot of them did in a
70s. The hippie, the
Rastafarian
hippie,
and the hippies.
the hippie
So
era. Yeah, the
hippie
70s.
era is kind of a whole heap of people that kind of go through this introspection thing. So them never
Mm,
necessarily that worry about them outer appearance and stuff like that. Because
yeah.
I believe that the person who worry too much about them outer appearance, for them thing is mostly about what other people are think about them. And the person who
Exactly.
worry about more with them mind and them mind space and them mental health is a person who is more introspective and them a think about what them need
Yeah.
to think about themselves, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
even though a next man where him think about you important to some level, where you think about
Hmm.
yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because
For
if
real.
you don't have the confidence in yourself, if you don't have the understanding of yourself, then a next man, when him give you film opinion, you will buy into film opinion. But if you
Exactly.
understand, say, yo, yeah, yo, my thing dep on a certain level, me have the confidence, me have the way how, no matter how me dress, no matter how me ear raggedy, no matter how me look,
I can
me
still
know my confidence and me no
myself.
care what you want to say.
Exactly.
And I think that is in the philosophy
Exactly.
of Rastafari too.
It
That's why we
is.
keep
It
with it
is. I
in
mean,
that ear
so
and stuff like
the
that. You
funny,
see me?
the funny, the funny thing is, I did want to be a Rastaman when I was in high school, but you know, the system not allow you to
Yes.
make money if you're a Rasta early, isn't me? So, but you just have to take off the way, then I gotta move my
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
me? But yeah, so after that,
Mm.
it started taking off. People started being more aware of what I was doing, and I mean, I didn't really explain to people what I was doing personally. I just showed it in the art.
Yeah.
And then eventually, what I did was I did a collaboration with Yellow Pages in Jamaica.
Yes.
That's when I realized
Yeah.
that people in Jamaica actually knew I was
Acknowledge it.
doing something,
Yeah.
you know, because I think at that time um a couple people in America was like reposting my work, like celebrities was like reposting my work and stuff like that. And once celebrities start reposting your work, Jamaican people always.
Yeah. They're not gonna see it. They're not gonna see it.
Yeah, they always say, "Oh, wait, I know that work." So I did the Yellow Pages, the collaboration Yellow Pages, and I end up doing they do with Kerry Man Home.
Mm.
And then yeah, so basically like formulated a new identity for it at the time, just for that year though, just for that year, um just because my style was so outstanding at the time that it could have fall into any category and still worked really well.
Mm.
So I did like so I worked as a basically doing art direction and design for that. um and then what I did, I remember, you remember what I did at the event, right? I was doing custom tote bags,
I think
and
yeah, 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 yeah,
I was
yes,
hand
yeah,
drawing everything, but everything was slightly like tropical themes. It was like I was drawing like pineapples in my style, and I was drawing
yes, yes,
lips
yeah,
and leaves and thing, and it was just a quick way of expressing and giving people something that was unique that they could also like cherish at the time.
so
And
as I talk about that, let's speed it up to the Pepsi stuff that
oh,
you
all
did.
right. So Pepsi now. This is Pepsi was what, 2018,
2019,
2019,
20, yeah,
2019, yeah.
recent.
Or yeah, let's say 2019, because I started working out in late 2018.
Mm.
So that collaboration happened because of Carla Hollingworth.
Mm.
You probably know her by Reggae Carla.
Yeah, man, I know Carla, man.
Yeah.
I know
So
Carla, I know
Carla,
Carla.
yeah. So to do with Carla, and Carla obviously, Carla did already buy a work from me already and support
Yeah,
me and tell me how
she
much
know
she
ya.
loved the work, and
Yeah, she
yeah,
know your artwork.
yeah. So me and Carla just become friends, and she would chat and she tell me how everything working and how she want me to work on this with her. And I was like, all right, cool. So they send me what they have and thing and thing. And I was chatting with them for like a couple months, well, before we even decide on like how much I getting paid and thing. But they wanted me to work as an influencer. But to me, I was just like, I'm not an influencer. Like, like I'm not an influencer. I just do what I need to do or what I want to do. And then
Yes.
if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And that's why I was telling you now that at this point they wanted me to be a muralist. And I was just like, I'm not a muralist. I'm mostly a designer. But I can paint, I can do everything. So I did one mural with them, one small one that you see in the commercial.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
for the other ones, that was more detailed and took more time. I didn't even get the chance to be here to actually see it like execute because I had to come back to New York.
Yeah. So
So I
basically,
already had.
for that, you just send the mural. So you send the
So what?
artwork,
So what?
and they
Yes, I
basically just
designed
line it
it.
up. Yeah.
Yes, I designed everything. I designed everything before. So when Pepsi approached me, all they had at the time was the concept and a logo,
Mm.
that Jamaican logo. That's
Yeah.
all they had at the time. And then I was just like, yo, I know them gonna want this to be. Like I'm just like, them don't have an identity for this brand yet. Them don't have an identity for the campaign yet. So I'm just like, yo. So I try to upsell myself.
Yeah.
Because as I tell you have to have the confidence.
Yes. So
So the
basically, yeah.
confidence
See,
help
you
with
know,
that.
man.
So
Me
I
don't
said, you
have
know
an
what?
identity. Me build the
Yeah.
identity.
I said, yeah, let me help you build that identity. So what I did, I know that obviously you're going to say, oh yeah, well, let's see something. So I said, all right, cool. And I took what I was doing, like basically everything I did for the mural. I said, this is what your identity is. So this is
Mm.
what it is. This is Jamaica. You get me? And they're just like, like, and then I had to explain the concepts to them.
Yeah.
Like,
So the
so I
strategy
was
now
just,
come in.
yeah. So the
Learning,
strategy,
explain the
learning the
strategy.
strategy
Yes.
comes in now, where you have to be like, well, when you look at the ocean, so when you see those lines, you represent the ocean, you represent the sun, you represent, so I have to put what you use to represent everything, what they mean, and how they come together to form this identity. Um, and over time, I guess they were just like, you know what? They're so caught up with how everything came together, overall, that they're just like, yo, we need this. We
Yeah.
definitely need this.
Yeah. You're sold.
Right? And I probably didn't even have to oversell it. It's just because visually it's appealing. They could have just run
Yes.
with that
Yes.
and just,
Yes. Yes.
but I
Yes.
wanted them to understand that there was more thought behind it than um just what you see in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So so that campaign obviously what lasts for a year.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's still going over into this year too. Almost a 2 year running campaign. Um
So question that
so
this is a very important question. And the reason why I want to ask is that a lot of Jamaicans don't even know these things. So when it comes to something like this, whereas you do a campaign and you
mhm,
agree for the campaign to run for a year. So we say,
mhm,
oh, all right, then we're gonna do a campaign. These artwork, all these things supposed to show for a year, and then after that they're
mhm.
supposed to disappear,
Yeah,
or whatever the
so
case may be. When the year pass, what is the legal things, or what is the business aspect where the brand would have to either talk back to you and give some more money? So explain that from a creative outside of Jamaica, so the people understand say it's a whole different ball game. That
yeah, it's a whole different ball game, man. It's a thing called licensing.
licensing.
Yeah, so once I mean, I figured that out late in my process. Like obviously before I did Pepsi still, but when I figured out that, oh wow, there's people out there that just want to use my artwork and put it on things and just sell it.
Yes.
And then what they do, they pay you to use the artwork, and then some people give you a commission on what they've sold.
Mm.
So it just depends on, it's just another stream of making income. You
Yes.
design something, it's almost like using like a red bubble or a society six,
Yeah. Yeah.
you give them your work, and then you put it on stuff that they make, and then you sell it, and then you get a commission from it. So what I did with Pepsi was I did uh I said, you pay me this amount um for the artwork itself, which is a separate charge, and then you pay me this amount for licensing for a year. or if you want it for, you kind of figure out your ballpark of how much money you want it to be for specific months, or you could do month by month or whatever. You figure out your payment plan or your system
Yeah.
with them. And then after that, no, you just decide, you sign a contract, obviously dictating what the rules are to use the artwork. For me, example, I would say, every time you change a SKU meaning a product, once it goes to a different product or a different avenue of creative, I have to
Yes.
get paid to
So
use the artwork on that medium.
and make we explain that in a layman term. So if the artwork is
So
now on the Pepsi bottle out here, that's a different
it's a
SKU.
different cost.
If it's now
Yeah, it's a different SKU.
on like branding Pepsi stuff, so they put it on a cup, then put it on
Yeah.
glue, then put it on all of these different product.
So
You
what?
have to
So
spend
whatever
more
it
money.
changes, yeah, yeah. So that's the way I had to approach it. So and I approach it that way just because I know that my art could easily be taken advantage of at that point, because I had no
Yes.
control, because I only art directed the project. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I basically art directed and creative directed most of it. So at that point, it's more about other people will be handling the files and making things from it. So
Yes.
even though I art directed it, I'm not in charge of designing other aspects of it. So I'm not in control of a lot of the elements anymore.
So you in other words take control by making sure they sign the contract that listen, you only license for use my product pan this, my artwork pan
This,
this.
that,
If you
that.
want to
Yeah.
use it pan this and this and this,
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
spend more money.
exactly. So
These are the
I mean,
business things.
yeah, so that's another thing that you have to learn as a creative. Like there's other streams of income that you can also get without even putting in as much effort as you need to, because you already put all the effort in the upfront. So you
Yes.
just for let it like roll down the hill and work for you.
Yeah,
Start
yeah,
getting
yeah.
faster and faster and
So,
working for you.
like for instance, I said they license it for 1 year and it's going into
Yeah,
a next year now. That mean either them have to call you and you and them negotiate again, or the
yeah,
contract dictates that them have to spend some more money, so to speak.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
one of the things that I learned about photography and stuff like that,
Mhm,
and almost any art, even though somebody commission you for the art, it doesn't
mhm,
mean that they own the rights to your art.
exactly,
So if them pay you
exactly.
$1,000 for design something and you design it and you send it to
Yeah,
them, you as the designer, you as the creative own the rights. It's the
can,
same
yeah,
thing. If you take some photos
yeah,
for somebody and then pay you $1 million for take the photo, you own the right as the creative who take the photo. So if them
exactly.
want
It
to
falls under
license it for
copyright
one
law. Yeah,
years, yes, them want to license for a year, and then 2 years down the line you see it on a billboard, you can actually sue
hmm.
them people there because
Sue if you need. Yeah,
them never basically work with all the agreements. And these
exactly.
things technically not work in Jamaica, like from
Well,
Jamaican
that's
standpoint. But
yeah, that's true.
you know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
But
Yes,
that's
because
because
one of the reason why you probably could have set up where you is because you outside of Jamaica.
maybe that was a stepping stone to like
That's a
help.
fact. I'm trying to
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah,
That is a fact because when me talk to
yeah,
them in a Jamaica, me in a Jamaica, me I say, yo, listen, you have to license my work for a certain amount of time and X Y Z.
yeah,
Me have to either bring a lawyer into the room for talk to them
yeah.
or something
I mean, I
else.
mean, I, I, I had my lawyer still in. Luckily, my best friend is a lawyer, so I just chat to her, call her, and say, "Yo, this is what's going on. What I need to do for this? How I need to work
Yeah.
this out." So it was easy. It was easy for me to kind of help navigate that.
Yeah.
And also, like people don't expect you to know them thing there, dog. As a creative, them don't expect you to understand and
Especially when you're
know.
at a certain
So
level.
when you're at a certain level, them don't really expect you to understand. So yo, you can actually make money off of your art without doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't
So
say
I
I
mean,
wouldn't say that without doing anything is that you can make money off your art in the long term without having to recreate the work. You create one work and you
recreate
license it for the
exactly.
next 50 years and it doesn't make your money. Just like
Yeah,
music, just like anything else, it
yeah,
doesn't make your money because people are using it on various things and you just make money
exactly.
from it.
Cause like so like for example, like I did some like for example like the party flyers and stuff like that. I never do any of those. I never do a lot of the animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I didn't need to. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
also
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
the time to. I also didn't have the time to do that for them to hire me as a full-time designer to execute all of the elements that they might need.
So in other words, you
So
just send them the Photoshop file or the Illustrator file or
so
whatever,
so I'll do.
and
So
them.
sometimes what I do is the preliminary. I do like a preliminary, and I say this is the mock-up of what it should be as a standard, and certain things should be in certain places and work like that, right? I mean,
Hmm.
obviously people gonna break rules because not everybody expect it to be formal like that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
them
yeah,
don't
yeah.
expect that. Yeah, them don't expect like, oh yeah, a designer.
Yeah,
Every
but
designer
when
supposed to
you
know how to put
design and when
things
you
together.
come up with an art direction and an art, you come up with all of these things. You do a style guide, right?
Oh, exactly.
And the style guide would say, oh, art. And if the logo is here, so nothing can be around this logo, and everything have to be at a certain
Yeah,
distance from it. And but as I said, the people them if they don't really understand, if it's not a designer who understand these things, them will break the rules
yeah,
and not knowing them will break the rules.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, even if you look at like what you create, and you have to look and see what the person did to even understand how to approach what you're going to create. To a lot of people don't really understand that technique either, you know. But yeah,
Design is a whole different. But when you reach certain level of designing, you realize that
levels.
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole different ball game. It's a whole different mindset. As I say, oh, you are designing with
yeah.
strategy behind it. A lot of people don't
Definitely.
even know that. So you design as a
Very
designer.
well.
If you have strategy, your design a look
Mm-hmm.
different. You think about it a look
A
different. You
little
think about,
different. Yeah,
you know what I mean? You
exactly.
think and say, all right, then this is what we're gonna do for years, and this is how it feel, and you know, yeah. And then by you having all of this information together and understand all these things, it helps you to be a better designer. There's a lot of things that help you to be a better designer.
Exactly.
Understanding colors, understanding psychology of colors, understanding the
Mm-hmm.
psychology basically of people and how people appreciate
Mm-hmm.
different art and stuff like that. So there's a wide variety of things that you as an artist have to understand, and I believe that that is what make the better artists. When I say artists and
Yeah, of
them work
course.
outstanding, them rated, some of them kind of free flow and just have that natural energy, but a lot of
Yeah.
them either the fundamentals that they got from them started or something where them learn early. Probably them can't even explain it, but
Yeah.
them have something where them
They have it.
understand,
Yeah.
will make them artwork or them creatives just different. I will see that
Definitely.
with Taj, but we believe that Taj have the
Taj.
understanding too. Yeah.
Taj has
If
it. Taj has it.
yes,
I can have it.
yeah, yeah,
Matthew McCarthy have it.
yes. All
Like,
of these names.
even McCarthy used to say to me, "Yo, when you need struck by a goal, he used to always say
Yeah.
that to me, like,
But you
yo, you
understand, the
inspire
artist
me,
will
dog."
understand artists. Yeah. Easier for
Yeah,
your artist
always,
understand an
always,
artist. And that is the reason why this show is so
always.
important to me is for make even the person who is not necessarily an artist kind of
Mm-hmm.
get a insight as to how the artist's minds work, or even
Work.
a creative, how a creative think about them project, and the different strategies, the different way our creative go about doing them work, so to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
my aim for this show is to one, as I say, educate the layman, the artists themselves, the creative themselves, to make them kind of get a different look on it and talk, even look a bit about the
Yeah,
business aspect of being a creative. That's the reason why I'm ask you, especially if you talk about, what I mean, Pepsi, and how
yeah.
you're
The license,
funneling
yeah.
that business part of it, so to speak. So I'm gonna say, Anglin, yo, much respect. We actually gone way over the time already it's supposed
Oh
to do, but
shoot.
the conversation was so good that I realized that I couldn't end the conversation in terms of
Yeah,
the time, and I wanted certain information from you for you to talk about certain things that it was important to get that information and flush that out so people can get the understanding, so to speak, that as a creative there's so many things going on, and the way you have to think about even the
yeah. And
artwork
think
and
about,
even the licensing aspect. You know what I mean? You're the first
yeah,
person when we speak to that. Say, even as a
yeah.
Jamaican, even though you know a Jamaican system still already, even as a Jamaican, if you have the
Mm-hmm.
right business acumen and the understanding, you can position yourself in such a way that the brands them have to understand. Say, listen, a license, you have to license my thing, I mean, just do artwork for you,
Yeah,
and you get to use it
exactly.
forever. You have to
Yeah,
license my artwork. So, much respect for coming out, brother. Thanks for your time.
definitely,
At 9 o'clock
definitely. Appreciate it.
in New York right now, 9:27.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock out here, but I respect you giving me the time for
Yeah,
basically
man.
come up on the show, and all that reason, and give
Appreciate
out
it,
some
man.
knowledge, share
Appreciate it.
some knowledge with people who not necessarily sometimes get to speak to people like you. Because I'm sure only for
Yeah.
people, they may love to talk to you themselves, but them not necessarily have access to you certain way. And
Easy thing, man. Over
you know what I mean?
Instagram. Can
Them
reach
can
out.
just DM you know what I mean? So
Just
obviously at
DM
the
me,
new
man.
world we in it, just DM an artist. So
Yeah.
as I say, I DM some people and them respond to just the same, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, man.
respect
It's
again
surprise,
and
yo.
come out.
Sometimes you're surprised who respond to you.
Yeah, you just have to just try,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? In life,
Yo,
you're not gonna know if you can talk to or get response from somebody without actually just sending them a message. It's much
without to send it,
easier now.
yeah.
Just send a DM.
Confidence, man.
Send a DM
Confidence.
and you'll see what happens. The person might not respond to you and it might be a cold DM but them see 2 years down the
Yeah.
line and them
Yeah,
respond to you
yeah.
and like, yo,
Yo,
Wagwan, sorry for the
that
late thing and the right thing.
that reached me the other day.
Yeah, man. The cold email and the cold DMs, you just have to send the DM. Be respectful when you send it. Make the
Yeah.
DM not be about you. When you send somebody a DM,
Yeah.
the DM need for not be about you and more
Yeah.
about what the person that do or for them work.
That's a
People
psychology.
respond
Psychology,
mostly
man.
to them DM day. It's not about hey yo, me want to meet you and me this and me that and me that. It's more that yo,
Yeah.
I like the quality of work where I put out and I respect it. I love to have a conversation to see whereas and kind of structure your
It's the
DM and your email
psychology,
in
man.
a
It's
way that
people. You have to
people can
understand
understand it.
people.
But as I say, respect again, and you know what I
Alright,
mean.
bro. Bless up.
We're gonna run the outro and everything, and give the people them the quote and everything. So bless up,
Yeah, man.
and bless up
Alright,
yourself and
bro.
guidance in the COVID world. Like I know, so I know.
You too, man. Stay blessed. Stay
Yeah,
blessed.
man. Blessings.
Alright, brother. Bless up.
Yes, 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 everybody. We just came to the end of another amazing show. I just spoke to my friend, Nick Anglin, another creative way. You know what I mean? We always see the work them, we always see NUWARHOL works, and we say, yo, them work here bad, 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 bad. And we don't really end the show without giving you a quote. And this one is by Paulo Chualo. Chuelo. What I'm pronouncing, the name did kind of, I have to look it up. Paulo Chuelo. And what it says is, and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Listen to the quote again. And when you want something, all the universe conspire in helping you to achieve it. So, in other words, what am I trying to say? I say is that the universe itself is there to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve. You now basically have to want this. You have to put all of your energy into whatever you want to accomplish. So whether you want to be a good artist, you want to make money, so to speak, you want to create, a house, whatever you want in life as a creative, and you aspire to achieve these things, the world, the universe itself is looking out for you and also want you to achieve this. So you just have to believe in yourself and as Nick say, confidence. Confidence is very important and understanding what you want. So thanks for watching another episode of Creative Always